Everybody, J.M.Manion here for NPC News Online. We're here at the NPC Photo Gym in Pittsburgh, PA, and I'm here with
Breena Martinez.
She came here expecting the polar vortex still.
Oh, yes.
She looked like she just walked off mountain skiing.
I was dressed from head to toe in snowboarding gear because as a California girl, that is the warmest piece of clothing that I own.
She was like 3 times the size she is here. She's like, I almost didn't see her at the airport. She's like, tassel cap, everything.
Everything. I've had leggings on underneath pants, shirts under sweater, jacket, mittens. I was prepared.
I didn't know, I couldn't figure out how many layers she had on.
But I wasn't cold.
That's true. But I had to warm up the gym for an hour before we could do this.
Yeah, I'm the California girl in Pittsburgh. It's gonna be rough.
Now, are you originally from Cali?
I am. I was born in San Jose and lived in Hollister, just like a small agricultural town. And I've lived in California most of my life, only a year and a half in Vegas, and then right back to the Bay.
So warm weather all the way around.
All the time with beaches and beautiful skies, no weird cold, no snow.
I should have had you back here 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm glad. I was fully expecting a snowstorm, but
Yeah, you are.
we're good.
Yeah, actually, folks, it's like 60-some degrees here, which is like a heat wave.
I brought the sunshine.
So, all right, so Breena, let's go back, give people a little bit of history. When did you start competing?
Started competing in 2014. My very first show was in January of 2014, and I actually ended up doing my first nationals the same year. So I was lucky to turn pro my third show into bodybuilding.
So give us what were the 3 shows?
So January was a muscle sport production show, and then March was the Governor's Cup, a Spectrum Fitness show. And then I went to the...
Right down the street from you.
Basically, yeah. It was nice to have a show in my backyard. And then we went for nationals, we went to the NPC USA Bodybuilding Championships put on by Muscle Contest. And I took first in my class, which was the E division at the time. And there was 46 girls in that class. That was still, to the date, one of the biggest shows that I've done.
That is one of the reasons that we made it from 6 classes to 8 height classes.
Yeah, that's a long time to be standing in that pose on the side of the stage waiting, for your class to be done.
Right, and let's be honest, you don't want to be the person in the 10th call out either.
And you don't. And that's what's so cool about the changes that have been made to the NPC. It's really catered to the athlete and for the friends and family that have come to see, their people on stage. So I really like the changes that have been made. It's really helpful.
Okay, so once you qualified for the IFBB Pro League, when was your first pro show? When and where did you make your pro debut?
My pro debut, so I received my pro card in July. So that October, my pro debut was at the Phoenix Europa show. And I remember, I think that was the first time I laid eyes on one of my personal favorites, India Paulino. And I remember thinking, why did I choose to do this show? But it was a great experience for me.
As in laid eyes on, you mean backstage because you were competing against her, right?
Yes.
Not just walking through the lobby.
No, I was starstruck. I was trying to pump and I was just like, there's India Paulino, her signature black suit. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is real life. I'm gonna be on stage with her. But that's what's so cool about, making that transition from NPC to IFBB. You get to meet the people that you've just been starstruck over on the magazines, a lot of the people that kind of paved the way. And, Amanda Latona and India Paulino were in the game for a long time. And so for me to be right next to India Paulino and then backstage meeting Amanda Latona, who's one of the reasons why I got into bikini bodybuilding. Just her physique, I felt like maybe I could do it too. And
yeah, now you told me an interesting story about meeting Amanda, which kind of goes, if you know her, this is, everybody knows that, but if you don't know her, just tell everybody what you were telling me. Because a lot of people have their own perceptions of what people are like and things.
Oh, of course. I was totally not expecting to be welcomed with open arms by Amanda. I saw her and she wasn't competing, but her husband, Steve, was. And we were in the hotel lobby and I shyly walked up to her and just wanted to say hello, maybe get a pic. And it turned into a 45-minute conversation of her just sharing some, knowledge nuggets with me. And it felt like we were best friends. And it was the coolest thing to have that interaction with someone of her stature. And what it did was it made me, like, when I grow up, at the time, I was like, when I grow up, I want to be just like her. And I want to be, personable and stop to talk to everybody, because that's kind of the examples that I was shown with her. I also met Kevin Levrone that show, and the same type of respect and the same type of atmosphere. So I always want to pay it back. So they really set the example for me.
Well, that's good, because a lot of people think that they, people like, especially somebody like Kevin, legend in our sport, that they would be unapproachable.
Right, but that was so not the case. And I had 1,000,001 questions, of course, because as a new pro, I had to ask. Why wouldn't I ask some of the greatest in our sports?
Right.
And they were so open and honest and gave me their honest advice. And it was just an experience I'll never forget.
Great. All right, so moving forward, when was your first IFBB Professional League win?
My first win was at the St. Louis Pro. That was my first, that was in March of 2015.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it didn't take me too long. And that was when you were able to win a pro show and get a bid to the Olympia.
Right.
So I was ecstatic. It was a dream of mine to be able to go to the Olympia. And after that show, I ended up going, 4 times consecutively, because I was able to get a few other wins after that. And now with the change with the points, most people always ask me, like, how do you really feel about that? Personally, I love it. I think it's an amazing way for us to challenge ourselves, and I think it's great that there are even more opportunities for people to get their pro card, because if you really want to call yourself the best in the sport, now you're really competing against everyone in the world. It makes that title even more esteemed.
Right. Olympia is supposed to be the best of the best, whereas the Arnold is an invite.
Yes. Okay. And the Arnold, oh my gosh. I got my first invite last year, and I think I applied every year and, just kind of crossed my fingers and toes. And so when I got my first invite last year, and it was my, first show of the year, and I was going in with the Pro Physiques with Damian Segovia as my coach. That was our first show together, and I ended up taking 6th. And that was a huge accomplishment for myself. And now I'm coming back, and that's where we are right now. Like, literally less than a month away from my second appearance. And I'm
this is your second road to the Arnold.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And now, after the Olympia and to the Arnold, I know a lot of people think that there's too short of a time. What do you think? In between.
I think that's plenty of time, really. Yeah. It just depends on what you do need
after.
Yeah. Because what happens is, and I talk about this a lot, on my Instagram, is the post show. You see a lot of post show eats and these binges, because Olympia's in Vegas and they have all the great food and all the drinks and the partying. But there's also in the back of my mind, it's like, we're professional athletes. And it's an all year round type of sport. I don't even like to use the term off season, it's improvement season. So I feel like
I think with the amount of contests that we have now, I don't know, I think there is an off season.
Yeah, there's a show every weekend, it seems like now, all across the world.
Right.
So it's like the stakes are high, and so I really think it's more about who can be more disciplined and who can make the least amount of mistakes.
So give us a couple highlights of some of the other contests that you've won, and placed well, some different things. What has the sport given to you?
Oh man. So my most recent win was at the Japan Pro. I became the first Japan Pro Bikini champion back in November, and that was a huge honor to take the win there, because I did compete against 2 other top 5 Olympians, and was able to walk away with the win. So that was a huge win for my career, and that was my 6th professional win as a bikini pro. But what this sport has done for me is it's really shown me what I'm capable of. Bodybuilding requires such a degree of discipline and consistency and ownership and accountability, all these life skills that can be translated into, other areas of your life. And so to be able to use it in this realm, and then I feel like a little plant that's just been given, the water and the sun and the food, and I'm just growing. And I love the fact that I'm able to give back, because I'm also a competition coach, and I like to see other women succeed and reach their goals. So it's really just made my life that much more fulfilling.
But you've also done mainstream work.
I have. Because of everything that I've been able to accomplish within the sport, it's gotten eyes of companies like Reebok, and I was able to do a commercial with them. I also did a commercial for Mariani milk, for walnut milk, and just lots of photo shoot opportunities. I've seen my pictures on posters and billboards, and it's just like a dream come true.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that think, well, if you're involved with quote-unquote bodybuilding, whether it's bikini or figure or men's physique, classic, whatever, that you cannot get out into the mainstream.
Oh no, that's not true at all. And
I mean, I've seen your Reebok commercials. I've seen the advertisements. If you don't know it, just look it up. But I mean, there's a lot of people like that there's still some type of a stigma with it. And I mean, I don't think nowadays.
No.
With all the different divisions that we have, that even holds any water.
There's so much to offer, and really it's about marketing and the different groups that are out there. And right now, I mean, there's just a lot of different people. I mean, the sport is growing. That means we have more of an audience that we're capturing, and for companies out there, that means there's marketability. There's
Right.
marketability with the athletes. So I was definitely lucky to be chosen by a few companies, and to be able to get my face out there and get modeling done.
Right.
And I think that if I can do it, you guys can do it too.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what you've been doing besides winning Japan since we did the photo shoot in August in Miami.
Yes.
Miami photo shoot.
Oh gosh, take me back. That was the coolest shoot ever. I've never been to Miami. That was the first time ever.
Oh, okay.
And it was so cool. I mean, especially being all the lovely ladies.
Not knowing, I mean, until actually right now when you said about your first contest and you're standing with India, well, now here you are standing with her.
Yeah.
At the photo shoot.
Yeah, and that was like so cool to be able to spend time with her and really get to know her, and just like the sweetheart persona that you see on Instagram, like it's to another level when you meet her in person.
You never told me that before.
Well, I'm telling you right now.
So now we know everybody. So, but then it's interesting because now I'm thinking back of how the pictures were, and I had you two bookended.
Yeah. It was really cool, because I remember seeing the famous hair flip shot that you did with her, and I just remember thinking, man, that'd be so cool to do a photo shoot with the India Paulino, and then there I was.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Okay, and then from there we have the Olympia, and what have you been doing in these last few months through the holidays and waiting to see if you got an Arnold invite?
Yeah, I've just been grinding. I mean, like I said before.
If you don't follow her Instagram, you're missing a lot. I'm just trying to educate everybody else.
I do. Not only have I been obviously training and getting myself ready, but I've also been spending a great deal of time giving back to a sport that's given me so much. So I was able to give a speech at Sean Carla's Cuties Conquering the Stage event in Washington, D.C. And I was able to kind of just share. I mean, I've done over 30 professional bikini shows, and I coach, 10 different women, and 3 of them are pros. So I have quite a bit of experience on and off stage, and I wanted to share that. I wanted to give that back. There's just a lot of things. I mean, you see all the glitz and the glamour, and you see the beautiful stage photos by this man right here, but you don't see, what happens once the stage lights are off and the show's over, and it's like that awkward period, like a week after show, when you don't have all the muscles and you don't have all the cuts and lines, and the mental anguish that can happen, because maybe you weren't prepared. So I've been spending time, doing that, and trying to reach out to as many girls as I can. As many of you guys know, anyone that DMs me, I message right back. I'm very interactive, and a lot of times I consult free. I just want to give information, because I feel like there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of, bodybuilding did this to me, and I really felt it was necessary to stand up and say, actually, no. You have a choice, and that's what you guys have been seeing on my Instagram is you have a choice. No one told you to do X, Y, or made you do X, Y, and Z. You chose to do that. So bodybuilding itself is not a dangerous sport. It's the choices and decisions that you make that make it dangerous. So I really want to be an advocate for showing how bodybuilding can be a beautiful thing, and it can really open your eyes to seeing what you're truly made of.
Oh, very well said. Very well said. And like I said, if you haven't followed her on Instagram, follow her. But not only just the post, but her stories and everything else. You will see all of this going on.
Absolutely. It's my job, I feel, as a professional to really be an ambassador for the sport and really show all aspects of it. You know, I've shared, you know, when I was 3rd and then 8th, you know, the very next week, and then the very next week I won. So there's a lot of pendulum swings that happen with the sport, but that's what makes it fun.
Yep. Okay, so we are what, 22 days out from the Arnold?
Yes. Ah, I love that. I've been like doing a little countdown. I have the little countdown on my phone, so I see it every morning when I get up.
Now, are you doing anything else between now and the Arnold, or are you just focused on the Arnold?
Well, because I had such an amazing time in Japan, Muscle Contest is putting on Muscle Contest Japan February 24th, and so I am going to make sure I compete in that show and then fly straight to the Arnold after that. I know my body now, and I know that, you know, getting one show in right before really has a tendency to help me bring that athletic condition look that I'm looking for. So I'm really, you know, the stakes are high for me. You know, I placed 6th last year, and, you know, my coach and I, we have high expectations of ourselves to improve on that. And so that's why I didn't leave any stone unturned this prep, staying focused, disciplined, ready to rock for February 24th, bringing my best to Arnold, and then I still have more shows after that. Because remember, it's the point system.
Exactly.
I've got 19 points, but that doesn't mean I get to sit pretty and just wait.
But the Arnold is if you're not aware, we have different tiers, the tier level, but the Arnold is the only tier 1, which gives you the highest points for placing in the top 5.
And this is why I was so grateful to receive my invite to the Arnold Classic in Ohio, as well as the invite for Australia. I'm going back to Melbourne.
So, and that Arnold, as well as the Arnold in Brazil, they are the tier 2. So it's high points for those.
Yes. And so that's one other little tip that I want to give out for all those new pros out there when you're trying to figure out shows. Look on NPC News Online and actually look at the different tiers so you can see which shows give out X amount of points. This is going to help you tremendously when you're trying to figure out what your track should be, you know, because you want to be strategic. Before, it used to be like, ooh, I want to go there and maybe I'll do this and let's take a vacation. But now it's competitive. Now we got to figure out, because you can't just wait and, you know, until the tail end and jump in last minute anymore. It's not like that at all. The game has changed, y'all. It's changed for the better, I think.
Yes, I agree. So is there anyone else you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Well, I just want to give a huge thank you to the Pro Physiques family. You know, we've been together for a year now. They've helped me bring my best to last year's Arnold, and we're looking to bring an even better physique this year. So Damien Segovia, you the man.
Anybody else?
Well, of course, this guy right here for bringing me to this history. I've always seen this wall and on the videos, I'm sure you guys have too, but you have to actually see this gym to believe it. There's so much history everywhere you look, but honestly, it's pretty awesome. The equipment. I'm ready to train. Can we train now?
Yes, we can. So, all right, this is J.M.Manion.
Breena Martinez.
And we will see you at the Arnold.
To follow my journey and learn even more things about all things fitness, I highly recommend you follow me on Instagram at Breena Martinez. I also can be found on BreenaMartinez.com.